at a 𝗙𝗧 event here in Bali. This is before we knew each other very well. And she was talking about her journey. And as soon as she started talking, and I had already joined the business, but this was my first time meeting both of you. No, I'd met you, Taryn, before I come to the house. Oh, yeah. And I seen you for like 1 second. Hi, you were coming back from the gym. But it was my first time really hearing them speak about 𝗙𝗧. And when Sarah started talking, it was like, honestly, like the heavens opened up and we're like, this is the answer you've been waiting for. Because I have been on this 4-year journey of trying to sort out my hormones. And so I really connected to Sarah. And ever since then, we've just had this open dialogue about what's worked. And we've done some other ceremonies and journeys together with hormone healing. And so we just thought it would be incredible to come and do this event. We had no idea that the response would be this incredible. I have to keep admitting people. There's 38 people in the waiting room. We had no idea that the response would be this big, but we do know that this is something that isn't often talked about. And so we, best laid plans. We have this incredible panel planned for you all today of these amazing experts. And there are all kinds of internet crazy shenanigans happening across the world. Usually it's us in Bali, and ours is fine. So you're going to get a conversation between the three of us, and we're going to share our stories with you today. And we didn't kind of want to do half measure. So next Thursday at the same time, we're going to bring all of the panelists on and do the roundtable discussion that we were planning on doing. So this will just be a little bit about our stories and how 𝗙𝗧 has benefited us. And then maybe we can also take some Q&A and answer some questions. And then we're really excited. We have an amazing group of panelists and experts coming to talk about these issues and to give you a lot of value and information just on things that you can do even outside of 𝗙𝗧. But we feel like it's a really important conversation to have because we have this amazing little tool that's been helping all of us tremendously. So
you need to add more people.
20 more people waiting. This is crazy.
Wow. Incredible.
And the other thing is we also trust that everything has worked out perfectly, because even within this space, I noticed since I've shared my story and Taryn shared her story, the more we're sharing our just personal journeys, the more so many women are reaching out saying, me too, and I feel like this, and I've experienced that. And so it kind of is perfect that this is the introduction event, because a big thing we're all passionate about is just opening up a space to have these conversations and talk about some of the things that women are experiencing behind the scenes that they're embarrassed about, or that they don't feel they can open up about or seek support, or just even have conversations that are really healing of themselves. And so I think it's actually probably really perfect that we're just starting in that forum, and then we'll take it to the experts next week who can bring in more of a medical and a scientific background as to why this is so prevalent, and also some really tangible things that you can do, because we really want to support your education and your journey. So let's get into it.
But before we do, can you all hear us? I just want to make sure that you can hear us all as we're going on. I know it says, okay, perfect. Great.
Amazing.
Brilliant. Hopefully we won't have any interruptions during this. So let's open it up, hey?
Yeah, it's so someone says we're cutting out. Is it cutting out for anyone else?
No.
Oh. Okay, perfect. Perfect.
No.
Perfect.
Beautiful.
We have more people in the waiting room again.
Oh my
wow.
gosh.
Everyone's just pouring in. This is so
Oni. Yeah, later I come and join you quickly. These people in the Bali, I think.
Yep.
How do you do?
Quickly join. That's right.
Meeting,
and then
We come and have a quick look. This girl is my
yes, come and have a quick look. Beautiful.
Okay. Well, why don't you guys kick off, since I'll be admitting for the next little bit. You guys start with your stories, and then
well, I might share a little bit about my journey, and then I guess why I'm here and why I'm so passionate about this. So I've been in the wellness industry for over 10 years in different capacities, from corporate health through to life coaching, nutrition, yoga teaching. Like I've really done a lot in the wellness space. But over that time, and now female leadership mentoring is my specialty. But over that time, I was also really on a personal journey as a woman, and to really get my own wellness in balance. And I didn't have my cycle for 5 years, which even at the time I was like, yeah, whatever. But not realizing actually that our cycle is such an indication of our true state of wellness. And so not having my cycle for 5 years, and then when it did come back, it was hectic. And so what I would experience for sometimes up to 14 days out of a month around ovulation onwards was real extremes in experiencing feelings of extreme anxiety, extreme depression, extreme fatigue. And I was reflecting on it today. It's almost to remember that. But I couldn't think clearly, and I was quite confused and foggy a lot of that time as well. But I was still an entrepreneur and passionate and driven to create impact in the world. And so it was very frustrating. And so for 3 years, this vicious cycle was continuing, and it was really impacting every area of my life, my ability to serve, my business, my relationships, not only with friends and family, but like intimate relationships particularly, but also just my sense of self-worth and confidence as a woman in the world was really diminished because I felt so out of control. I felt like I was in a body that wasn't even mine. And so I was really went on a big journey to do all the things, you know. I was doing women's embodiment training, and I'm working with my cycle, seeing healers and nutrition and acupuncture and, you know, all the things. And it was getting very frustrating. Like there were things that were definitely supporting, but it was very frustrating, and it was quite a lonely journey as well. And so it was really last year that I was kind of over it. Like I'd hit a rock bottom. I was back with my parents. I was just really, really struggling, and I guess really asking for a solution that really worked, because, you know, I was trying all these things. And so then Taryn and I had been, you know, we've known each other for years, and she actually will share her journey. So we knew we had similar challenges around our hormones, and she introduced me to this little device. Where is this little thing? 𝗙𝗨𝗘𝗏, this little thing. And as soon as I saw it, you know, I'd studied a lot of nutrition, and I know as women we're very intuitive. My body was like, you know, I knew there was something to this, because my body sort of was like, yes. And obviously I'd been asking for something, because my other route that I was being suggested to was the Western medicine, you know, medication, that path. And I knew that wasn't for me. So I was asking for an alternative. And like I said, this came in. And so after working with it for a few weeks, basically it's a frequency device, but it works with bioresonance. And it was after a few weeks, I noticed my energy was shifting, which was great. But over the coming months, I was just becoming more balanced, and my physical health was changing and shifting. And so every month was getting better and better and better, to the stage where now it's been about 6 months, and I'm on day 3 of my cycle. Don't mind sharing that. But I'm just me again. You know, I'm balanced. I've got energy. I've got clarity. I'm bringing my vision to life in the world. And it's so hard to now think back to who that woman was, but I'm so passionate now about this being a piece. It was a missing piece of the puzzle for me, and I think from the stories we hear from our community, it's really supporting so many women to have shifts in this space, and not only with their physical health and vitality, but having the support of beautiful community and you know, being of service and bringing their passions to life. It's so multifaceted. But I can't share how grateful I am to find something that's really worked, and also to open up spaces like this, like I said, because it really sucks when you're on this journey by yourself. And so that's a little bit about why I'm here, and I guess my journey. And I know as women, it's very common, but it's not normal. And I want everybody to know the health and vitality that is normal and our birthright. That's my get a little bit emotional.
It's all right. It's that time.
It is that time. Yeah.
Nice. Well, I mean, I guess if you like, I can share mine. And I came into Healy not actually for my health. I mean, I did come for my health. Thanks. I did. But I had been, I've been in the space of social selling for 8 years, and I was introduced to Healy from the perspective of being a leader within that industry, of this new product coming out. Check it out. It's amazing. And I was really open to seeing something new because at the beginning of last year, I had another terrible episode where I'd ended up in hospital with numbness in my arms, face, completely blacked out, couldn't even talk or I had no faculties about me whatsoever. So I was in emergency again, which was now maybe the 20th time I had been in emergency in that state. And the doctors had said to me, look, we believe you've got early onset MS. And so this is something I'd been dealing with for a really long time, but ended up in that space. I didn't have MS, but they couldn't figure out what I did have. And eventually, actually, a couple of months after doing loads and loads of tests, they said, what we think is going on with you, what we're pretty sure is going on with you, is that your hormones are poisoning your body. And they're causing all this nervous problems in your nervous system. Plus, I was having intense anxiety. And Sarah and I didn't know probably 14 years ago why when we met and we connected straight away. And I think must have been something with our subconscious that knew that we had this same battle that we were fighting, but fighting a little bit in different ways. And so I got introduced to Healy from a business perspective. And although last year I was having a big health journey, and when I was introduced, I didn't really think that this was going to be something that would really significantly shift what was going on in me, because I had been for 20 years searching for a way to fix this thing that was going on with me all the time. Anyway, I started using Healy, and maybe it was 3 cycles in, did I actually probably say to you, I haven't had an episode. And I was like, could it really be Healy? Could it actually be this device that I was being introduced to? Kept using it, still another cycle, still no hell week or no episode. And I guess with compliance, we're not allowed to say anything has ever cured you.
Yeah.
But I can tell you that since the moment that I've been using Healy, I have not had this intense anxiety that I would have for 3 days, where I couldn't sleep for 3 days. It was all over my body. So much so that you couldn't even look me in the eyes because my eyelids were twitching so much from the anxiety I was having. So it's in many ways it is completely saved me, and it's not just the device, but it's also the incredible community that is around this device, and the ability to create freedom, the ability to be able to work with what's going on in your body, the ability to have a flexible lifestyle, to be able to live, somewhere like this, where when you're having a flat day, you can, it doesn't feel so flat. So I guess that's my story. And I think from someone who has been a corporate executive and always been kind of in these high-powered positions, the fact that I would have that was actually really quite shameful. I didn't ever want to talk about it. I didn't want to talk about, this was something that I was suffering every single month. And some people close to me knew about it, but it was something I very much did in silence, because I didn't want people to think that I was weak. I didn't want people to know I had this thing going on. And it's amazing when you start sharing your story and you start, I guess, stepping into service and realizing the more you share, the more people, this will land for somebody. And I often think, if I can share my story and it just helps one other woman out there, then it's completely worth sharing the story and sharing what's going on with you and being vulnerable, no matter if you think you're a power woman or whatever it is. Because I think there's so much power in that.
Yeah. It's interesting because I think that I resonate with that so much because, I was working in corporate America at 16. And from there, I think one of the things we talked about is how we don't talk about these issues as women. And I think it's for a variety of reasons. One, is what you're saying, that when we stepped into this role as feminists, we didn't want to be seen as weak. We wanted to be seen as strong and equal in many ways. And, from the time we were little girls, we were told not to be too emotional, not to be hysterical, don't be too much. This is the programming and conditioning, I think, that's given to all women as they're growing up. And so as a result, I think, you go through these things and you don't want to burden anyone. You don't want to appear weak. You don't want people to be like, oh, you're just being emotional. How often have even, our partners, I think, who don't mean to say it in a mean way. It's just like, oh, are you on your period? Like, how often have we heard those comments where you just put up a wall and you don't want to let anyone in and you don't want to talk to anyone about it? And I mean, even looking at these numbers, these RSVP numbers, like, I knew that it was important and I knew that we should do it. And then it was like,
tiba-tiba amat cakap. Okay.
Everybody? Last night when I went to bed and I saw, I think we were at like 6:50 or something last night when I fell asleep, I was just like, wow. Like, and so I'm glad that we're doing this, and I'm actually glad that we ended up being able to sort of have this conversation first and then bring the panel experts in. My story is that, I started my period really early in 6th grade, and it was really I was raised by a single mom who was a feminist, interestingly enough, but it was literally like, here's some tampons, and that was it, right? Like, and, I just...
Like, what do I do with that?
Right, and I didn't have, like... There wasn't a conversation. There wasn't, here's what you should expect. Here's how you're going to feel. It was very much like just sort of brushed over. And, I just remember, like, I was the first person in my class to start their period. So of course I was hiding that, not telling anyone about that. And I also happened to develop really early. So that was uncomfortable. And it just, I started being ashamed of my body at that really early age. And I think there's something to that, when we're not taught to celebrate that part of our life, we are at war with ourselves from the first time we have a cycle. And as a result of that, many of us here that are part of Healy do energy work and understand energy. And it's like, when we're from, for me, that was 11 years old, I started a war with my body energetically, where I was embarrassed. I was ashamed. I didn't want to tell anybody what was going on with me. And, that continued well into my 20s, even around reproductive health, when I had to start going to the gynecologist, and I felt embarrassed. It was always just this, I don't even know, how to say, this inconvenience. Like my cycle, that part of my body, even emotions, and I'm not an overly emotional person for those of you that know me, but it's like all of that stuff, it was a huge inconvenience, and I didn't like it, and I felt like it slowed me down. And so I think in my, right before graduating high school, my period started getting very painful, and I started having extreme PMS, which as a result of being in that internal war with your body for that many years, of course things, there's stagnation there, right? And so, this is a women's health and hormone webinar, so I'm going to talk about the things. So if you don't want to hear about the things, then you probably shouldn't be on this webinar. But my, extremely tender breasts at ovulation, I started having pain at ovulation. I always knew when I was ovulating because it felt like literally like snakes, and it was just excruciating. So not only was I having PMS, but at that midpoint in my cycle, I was having pain. I was having extreme irritability then, extremely tender breasts, to the point that I couldn't even, shirts, bras, everything hurt. I used to bind my breasts during ovulation because it would help that tenderness. And this is 19, you guys, in my 40s. And I think that's the other thing we think, like, when women go through menopause, they have hormone issues. But I didn't even know it was hormone issues. I thought that was normal. I thought, like, this is just what all people are experiencing. And then nobody was talking about. So, and that just continued on essentially until I had my first son. And again, I really felt betrayed by my body. I wanted to have a natural childbirth, ended up having to have a C-section, and my hormones after that, after 36 hours of labor, 29 natural, then having to have an emergency C-section, my hormones were a mess. And I cried myself to sleep every night for a year. And like at the time was like, I don't have postpartum depression, but I was literally crying myself to sleep every night. And it just, and that's when the hormonal weight battle began for me. And so ever since that point, it's sort of been this roller coaster of up and down and up and down. And I guess the more serious, the more serious health issues started after I had my last son. I had him at 38 years old, and I nursed him for 3.5 years, which I don't even know how that happened. It's totally crazy, not like me. But I nursed him for 3.5 years, and went into complete adrenal fatigue when he was one. Had a business collapse right after he was born. Extremely stressful life situation. We lost everything, lost a house, lost a car, lost $3 million. And so that, having the baby, the breastfeeding, and was a vegan and wasn't properly supplementing during that time. I went into complete adrenal fatigue. My hormones bottomed out. Was first diagnosed with hypothyroidism, then went into full reverse T3 syndrome, gained 45 pounds, gained 35 pounds in about 6 weeks, and then another 10 pounds over the next several months. And I've just been in this constant battle to get those back in control. My thyroid has been an issue since then. And the health struggles have been really severe. I have most afternoons. I've actually, since Healy, no. But until Healy, afternoons were by 2 p.m. I could barely keep my eyes open. And then my cycle's horrible, just completely horrible. And it's so funny because I was so focused on my thyroid. Like I wanted Healy for my thyroid. I was like, Healy, I really felt after talking to Sarah, I was like, oh, this is going to help. And then, libido, low libido, like there were things that I was like, oh yeah, this is going to be great. And it never even crossed my mind that it would help my cycle. And so after like 3 cycles, like my last cycle that I just had, I was like, this is so weird. I didn't know it was coming. It literally like just came on, no pain, no irritability, no tenderness anywhere. And I was like, oh my gosh, my last 2 have been that way too. And it didn't even click. So every cycle that I had since hold on, gotta mute everyone again. Every cycle that I've had since I started using my Healy, I've had no pain.
Yeah, that's incredible. It's such a big story about how we feel like our bodies are betraying us. And it feels like you're kind of in this constant battle all the time to come back to a state of normal, or what normal should feel like. And
I think that's really what we're talking about, and it is balance. And this is our favorite word at the moment. But the other thing that I feel, because I researched quite a lot into this on my journey and went deep into women's embodiment work and understanding the cycle, and I feel a lot of women have these challenges that we speak of because we are not only out of balance within our body, but also within our lives. That, like you said, coming from all that feminist movement where it was like women and, really driven by our careers and driven to make our bodies look a certain way. And, there's a lot of pressure on women. I think we swung out quite in that, like really putting a lot of pressure on ourselves to achieve and have career success and, also still have the house under control. And like, look a certain way. And I think that pressure and that sort of swing out, it is, and this is my perspective based on my experience, and experts will speak into this next week. But I also think this out of balance is also helping us slow down and sort of start to really find more balance in our life, in our communities. And that's something that I've noticed while the body and the health and the physical, mental, emotional stuff has come into balance. The rest of my life has also come into balance, still being able to have a beautiful business and an incredible community and create abundance but also really self-nourishing and caring. And I speak to women all the time because I work with women that are trying to find that balance, and they're giving and they're giving and they're giving, and then they're burning out and ending up with a lot of health things that their body's kind of screaming at them, being like, I can't keep giving all the time. And so I do think this is all interconnected, being able to slow down and learn to receive as we give and have more balance with that giving and that receiving, but also being supported by community. Like women, we're not meant to be out there raw, like I can do this, independent woman, hear me raw, like the Wonder Woman, I think we are learning we're natural connectors and we naturally work well in collaboration. So I think these health things are a physical representation of some other things that are also out of balance for women in the world. And that's something that, I also feel is being created around Healy, is that space for women to operate in a different way.
So there's a question actually that I think we should address, because I know you and I have both talked about this. People were asking, what programs did you run? And I just want to say, and I think at the advice of you, because you shared your story with me, I think in your mind, you really want to go into Healy and be like, I'm going to run the thyroid program, or I'm going to run the hormone program, or, I was going through digital nutrition last night, and there's a whole bunch of other women's health programs in there. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I think it's our nature to want to go directly to the thing that seems like it's the issue. And I have probably only run thyroid 3 times since I've had my Healy at the recommendation of Healy. Yeah. And I've only run hormones, I think, twice. I literally use my Analyze app, scan to see what I need, and that's what I run, because I'm trusting that Healy knows exactly what I need to heal my body. Yep. And just so you guys are aware, because of this journey that I'm in right now, my intention that I set every time I do my analysis is, what do I have the greatest resonance now that will heal my body? That is what I say every single time I run that scan, and whatever it is, my top 3 things that come up, that's what I run that day. And that's it. I rarely do an aura scan. I rarely do, I did run some melatonin last night because I wanted to try it out and see if it helped me sleep. And it did. But I just have been trusting Healy. And that's the incredible thing for me, is that it's like, I don't really need to know why I'm getting, I think I get a lot wounds systemic, and scars a lot systemic, and I think you said that you did as well, and some of the other women that I've talked to that have hormone stuff have been saying that that's been coming up a lot. So there's obviously something in that program of frequencies that relates to hormones. So,
and just one thing that I'm thinking may be really important is, for those of you that don't actually know what Healy is, I think it's important that we maybe give a little, and maybe you can do that, Taryn, is give a brief overview of actually what is this, because we really do believe, that's why we're on here, that this is a part of a new evolution in health and healing. And so, Taz, do you want to give a brief explanation of actually what this thing is that we're all talking about and getting excited about?
I can, but just briefly before I do, and it kind of will explain what this does as well. I remember when you came to see me and you tried Healy, and I scanned you to see what was going on in your body, and it came up with support wound local. And every time we scanned you, it came up with support wound local. And Sarah was like, but I don't have any of these wounds. I don't know what it's all about. But I said to her, just trust that. Trust that that's what it is telling you, is putting you out of balance, and just run it. And then you did, and
things changed. And that's the thing I will touch on before you go into a deeper explanation of what it is. my perspective on what Healy is it's a way to scan and analyze your body, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual level, and identify what is out of balance at the root cause. What I realized I had been doing previously was trying to treat the symptoms, but not actually get to the underlying thing that was putting me out of balance. And that's what I feel like this new health technology is able to do. That's my perspective, but you give it more.
Actually, that was a beautiful explanation about what Healy is. I mean, ultimately, this is exactly what it does. It literally scans your bioenergetic field. It literally scans inside of there, where all of your information sits inside of this beautiful bioenergetic field. It's why we call it quantum medicine or quantum healing, because it's able to actually tap into that quantum space, which is a really exciting space to be able to tap into. Inside of that space is all of the information about you. And inside of there, it can see, where are you ultimately out of balance? Where are you not really lining up exactly? In your case, you had that... the wounds, right? And so that's ultimately what was really keeping Sarah out of balance. Why? We don't quite really know, but that's what it was. When she was targeting that space, her body came back into balance. And so this is what the remarkable thing is with this, is it has that ability to scan and analyze what's actually going in your body. Then we have 144,000 different frequencies inside of here, in one way or another, inside of here. And so it customizes what's going on in your body and then delivers it back, because we also have this quantum sensor inside there. This quantum sensor that basically keeps asking your body, is this frequency for you or not? Yes or no, yes or no, yes or no. A little bit like kinesiology, you know, literally that's happening. Yes or no, yes or no. And then it creates for you a program and delivers that back to you. So it scans and analyzes, it then customizes through this quantum sensor, and then it delivers back to you exactly the frequencies that your body has been crying out for. So in a nutshell, that's what it does. And I mean, we know there's other frequency machines and devices out there, but there are these big, like, practitioner machines. The beautiful thing about this is, look how little it is. It's like literally, you know, you can put it in your pocket. We wear it all the time. Yeah. And you literally, it's how you wear it. You literally strap it on and wear it and get these incredible microcurrents which deliver frequencies. But also information is delivered into your information field as well. So it is, as you can tell, I get very excited about this because I've been in the space of health and wellness for 20 years, and I've just never seen anything that helps so many people on so many levels. I mean, we're here talking about hormones and women's health and whatnot in this particular discussion. But, you know, just what I've seen it do for so many people in so many ways, whether it's your physical health, your emotional health, also your connection as well, your connection to source. I mean, ultimately, I think that's, you know, if we go a little bit woo-woo here for a moment, I ultimately think that we get all of this dis-ease and discomfort and all these different things going on inside of us, and that's ultimately to show where we're disconnected from source or disconnected from ourselves, if you like. Yeah. And so, that's what Healy does in a nutshell.
In a nutshell. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I think it's, you know, one of the reasons why we decided to do this series of webinars, which is because Healy does, like, everybody.
Oh, we got the dogs. We got the doorbell. Morning this morning.
There are so many applications and there are so many niches that Healy fits into. And so we've actually made this decision to do these very targeted webinars. And this was the first one. Because we wanted to be able to deliver information that was really relevant to the user. Yeah. So,
and this is obviously a topic that we're particularly connected with, because this has been our health journey. Gosh, we've really got all the things happening this morning. Yeah, thanks, Max. So, yeah, this was a topic we were particularly connected to, and especially even more so now seeing how many others out there are obviously here, you know, looking for something. I mean, I'm guessing you're here because there's something within your own health and well-being that you know, and this is the big thing I think we've all got in common, is that we knew there was a different way. We knew there was a different level of energy and vitality and capacity and connection to ourselves, and that's something that we've all found with the support of this as part of a holistic approach, and I think it's a missing piece for a lot of people. So
I mean, when you're talking about hormones, you know, we can think that that's women's health, and it is, but it is so much more, because when I think about, and all of us and everybody, all of the women in here and the men in here would know that it doesn't just affect your health. It affects your relationships. It affects your libido. It affects your career. It affects your ability to turn up. You know, when you're here to really feel like you want to deliver something powerful to the world, and you're laying in bed crying, you know, crying mess for 3 days because you can't get up because your body just won't let you, then, you know, it affects so much. And I guess one of the things that I love about this is we see so many shifts and so many women in all of these areas. It's obviously they have this tremendous like health benefit. But then you start to see their relationships shift. You start to see their income shift. You start to see their connections shift. You start to see them. Gosh, I'm going shit. You start to see them show up in the world just more, and that's what we need, right? We just need more women connected, more women showing up in the world, more women tapped into their femininity, more women owning their divine right to be wealthy goddesses. We need more of these women.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's interesting too. I mean, I think it's, I loved what you were saying, Sarah, about overgiving. And this is something that I'm a wealth consciousness coach, for those of you that don't know. And this is something I actually teach about a lot, is that it is literally impossible to receive when you're overgiving. And that's in all ways, including wealth. And so these issues that come up with women's health issues and hormones are often impacting our ability to earn money, not just for those days or that week that we're, you know, debilitated, but also just in general, energetically.
Max, okay, he's okay. Sorry. The dog is going nuts. Can you bring him here?
We're going to get Bear involved.
Oh, yeah. Come here.
Okay. Little Bali chaos this morning.
He's going to join in.
It's all good.
Yeah, it's okay.
Well, we're live and it's all real here in Bali.
So, yeah, he needs, here, put the Healy on him.
We do that too, by the way. It works on animals very well.
Please stress stop rolling in mud.
So, yeah, I mean, it's, you know, the energetic stagnancy that we carry from these issues being present in our lives and impacting all areas of our lives also impact our ability to earn money and to make money and to be wildly financially compensated for sharing our gifts in the world. So it is I think it's such a multifaceted topic, and I'm really excited for our experts and professionals to come and be able to. Maybe he can go inside.
Yeah. He's a bit grumpy today. He does need a Healy.
Yeah, he has his input on women's health also, Bear. Yeah, so I mean, I just think that I'm excited to have our panel next week, and thank you all for being here and sticking with us while we share our stories. But we've got this incredible group of panelists that are such a wide range of practitioners, from more functional medicine doctors to we have a registered nurse, and then we have some more alternative wellness practitioners coming to do the panel. And for me, it's, you know, I think that this topic, I know for me, I have done everything under the sun. If it's out there, I feel like I've tried it. I've drank the teas. I've been stuck with the needles. I have fasted. I have tried every diet known to man. I've done DNA tests. I have, you know, I've taken just about every supplement that someone would give me to tell me that it would work. I literally felt like I had exhausted my options. Sarah and I just did a plant medicine ceremony. We just did Cambo for the second time in a month. I mean, so literally, like, we're living this. This is literally our lives, that we are on this journey. And for me, somebody asked earlier, did I lose the weight yet? No, I haven't. And
you have a little bit, actually.
Yeah, I have a little.
Yeah,
but
she has.
Well, I lied. But I have not lost the 45 pounds. Well, and I actually, I ended up losing 10 of the 45. So it was a 35 pound discrepancy, and it's about a 30 pound discrepancy now. So yes, I have lost a little bit in the last month with Healy and some of the other alternative therapies that we've been doing. And I'm definitely back on my supplement regimen and doing a lot of, but this is the thing, right? And I think the beauty of Healy also is that when you start using Healy and these frequencies start upgrading your energetic field, like you have a deep desire to be more healthy. Like, I started using Healy and it was like back to the trainer, back to the meal plan, back to the, like, let's go on a walk, let's go to the beach, like all the things that I had sort of shifted out of because I was in a medium, low level, I guess, depression, began to shift. And so, yeah, it's an ongoing journey for me. It's one of the reasons why I was so excited about doing this webinar and sharing this is because I'm in it right now. Like, I'm literally like, this is my health for me, is my number one thing that I'm personally working on right now. I, completely abandoned it for 3 years as I was building my business, which wasn't a positive thing to do either. But I was so frustrated. I honestly had tried so many things and I was at the point where I was just exhausted. And I was just like, you know what? Nothing's working. Nothing's working. I'm sick of fighting this and forget it. And I'm like, I'm just going to focus on business. And I did that. And then, moved to Bali, and I'm lucky to live in this amazing paradise. But then found Healy and really got inspired again. Like I said, when Sarah was talking, it was like, this is it. This is the thing. This is why I was called here. And I thought it was for all these other reasons. And I'm like, nope, this was it. This is why Healy found me, was because to help me on this journey.
And then so many others.
Yeah.
I mean, I know when I first got introduced to Healy, there was, and so many people talk about this, by the way, and I'm sure those of you that already have your Healy and or those that don't will get to experience this one day, is when you start to use it, you're like, wow, I need to share this with the world because what it's doing to me is quite incredible. And then as we see what it's doing to the rest of the community, like, I know you, when you rang me, I was in China. You rang me and I was in China and you were like, Karen, I haven't had this issue come up again. And like, I burst into tears because I was like, of course, feeling really tight now. I was like, watching somebody you love go through these things, you don't want that. And so it's been beautiful to watch so many people's, I need to stop crying. It is that time right now.
Yeah.
But one thing for a long time I was like, is this really Healy? Is it placebo? Is it something else? And I actually can say that, it is the collection of the beautiful community that we have around us and we have so many talented people in the health and wellness space, which is beautiful to be able to draw upon. And it is the ability to create a completely free lifestyle where we're able to live in somewhere like this and make those choices as well. But it is also this device. And I can tell you that because I'm going to tell you a little story right here. When did we go on the trip up to see the dolphins? How long ago was that? 6 or 7 weeks ago?
6 weeks. Yeah.
6 weeks ago. Okay. So I gave my Healy away to somebody 6 or 7 weeks ago now. And I have noticed, so I haven't been using my Healy that much. And I noticed I noticed me over my cycle returning back to that space where anxiety was starting to come back. And we reflected on it yesterday and I was like, oh gosh, what's going on? And I realized I haven't had my Healy for 6 weeks. Do not give your Healy away. Do not give your Healy away.
You are nobody's getting my Healy. Don't even ask.
Well, after this experience, I can tell you nobody is getting my Healy again.
And I think this brings up a point that I hear a lot of people, especially people in the wellness space, practitioner space, that come from a mindset of like, oh, but once you get it, does that mean you don't do the work anymore and people, you need your Healy? And the answer is yes and no, because in Taryn's story, like, yes, but the other thing is it brings self-awareness. So the best way that I've heard it described that I love and so simple, it's like when you go 10-pin bowling and you've got the bumper bars on the edges so that it helps keep the ball in alignment going down towards your goal or whatever. So when you're using your Healy, it's always there offering you a deeper level of insight into what's going on in your body, in your mind, in your life. And so there's a combination of the frequencies of bringing you into bioenergetic balance, but also when it comes up very tangibly on your screen, like job stress or sleep or things like that, you start reflecting on, you've got this very tangible way to be like, oh yeah, maybe I'm working a little bit too much, or maybe I need to improve the quality of my sleep, or maybe I need to not have that coffee, or I'm eating something I'm allergic to. And so this self-awareness for women, particularly going back to the self-care thing, it's this constant way that we're able to self-nurture, self-care, increase our self-awareness so that we can show up as mothers, as business women, as creatives, as health practitioners, or whatever it is that you're doing and you're passionate about in your life. You showing up from a place of my cup is overflowing and I'm serving from this space. And I think that's the biggest thing with the long-term thing of Healy. It's the frequency and the actual energetic shifts happening in your body are real. They are real, as you can see from this story. And the self-awareness and the behavior change that can come from that really tangible information takes you to a whole new level. And I think that's the short and the long term.
Absolutely. And I know lots of people are like, oh, well, then do you become dependent on this device? Do you become dependent on exercise?
And good nutrition.
Because the thing is,
nature,
exactly,
sunlight.
Like this is part of your holistic health and well-being plan that I do every single day. I mean, I haven't for 6 weeks, and now she knows. Now I know not to do that again, so I will not be doing that again. But it's just like if I stopped exercising for 6 weeks, I would feel it. You know, this is part of your holistic wellness plan. And we have everyday things that knock us out of balance. Yeah. And so we need to keep filling up our cup. Planets, yes. We need to keep filling up our cup all the time. And so I feel like when people are like, so it means you have to use it all the time? Yes. And I want to use it all the time, just like I would want to eat healthy or drink water all the time or exercise or do whatever it is that keeps you sane and in balance and happy
and thriving.
Yeah, so it is. So it's not necessarily that you become dependent on it. It's just that it becomes part of your wellness tool. And I can tell you right now, I do not want to go back to those hell weeks. Hell no, I do not want to go back to those hell weeks. And so I have found something that works for me better than any medication, works for me better than any exercise, any diet, anything on there. So if I have to use frequencies and have that to keep me balanced, then I am all in to do that for as long as I've got to do that.
Well, and I think it's important to talk about the fact that as human beings, we are literally seeking to manipulate our vibration in each moment of every day. Like we are looking for external stimuli to shift our vibration and our frequency. And so whether you're doing that through exercising, yoga, meditation, there are all of these spiritual practices that we do and that we use to shift our frequency and to shift our vibration. And we are living in a technological age. We live in a technological age, and we are becoming increasingly more technologically advanced with each week really that goes by at this point. I mean, technological advancements are, when you just talk about like what this actually is, it's amazing what the functionality of this device. But for me, I don't have time to become a monk. I don't have time in my business. I am a mom of 3 sons. I have a spouse. I have 2 businesses. Well, 3 really. I'm a busy woman. I don't have time to spend the time that I would like every single day. I mean, if I had 4 or 5 hours to spend in meditation every day, that would be amazing. And I would do it. But it's just not the reality of my circumstance. So for me, spirituality and wellness has to evolve technologically. We're not all spending our days doing kriyas. We're not all, able to go to a yoga retreat for a week or 2 weeks every quarter. We're not able to go to a detox center. And on top of that, it's just not financially viable for many people to do the spiritual practices that they desire to do to shift their vibration and their frequency as frequently as they would like. Enter this, right? And for me, it's not about dependence, but what it's about is what frequencies are serving me best in this moment today to help me function at my optimal performance. Because when I'm functioning at that level, I am unstoppable. And anything that's going to assist me in getting there, that's not harming me, that's actually helping me, I'm all about that.
Yeah.
I love that.
I mean, this isn't a pharmaceutical or something like that. This is something that actually, the more you use it, actually, you could just continue to keep getting in balance and balance and balance. And so that's it. We're living in a modern world. Like, there is constant stresses. There's constant environmental stresses. There's planetary stresses. There's all this stuff that's going on all the time, which is kind of keeping us out of whack. And so to have something that we can tap into that just shortcuts that, like you say, like, instead of being in meditation, in fact, we've got people here that are gurus of meditation, and they have said, this is like, you know, he actually picked it up. He was like, this is like me in a device.
Yeah,
he was like, the ability to get deep into meditation and get deep into your spiritual practices so quickly. He's like, I just cannot believe this exists. But just like you're saying, it is the next evolution. For us to embrace this and to really embrace this next side, that is what us humans should be doing, embracing the technology that we have now to be able to deliver these incredible frequencies to us.
Yeah, well, technology can either take us two ways. Like, it is the way of the future. We can either resist that and it can take us this way if used not in the best way, or else it can help in our advancement and evolution. And I believe that's why this is coming, especially at this time on the planet. Like, look at what is happening right now on the planet. And it's like, I don't feel like the world was maybe ready for this before, but I completely believe that it's here to support us in our evolution at this time, because let's be honest, there's a lot of systems, a lot of health things, like a lot of our ways are not working anymore. And so people are open and looking for something new to support this shift that is happening, which is everything is energy, frequency and vibration at the end of the day. And this is greeting us on that level, on that energetic level. Yeah.
Awesome.
I mean, we could clearly talk about this all day long, but we're going to probably start wrapping it up.
Should we let them have like 5 questions?
Yeah.
As a Q&A, put it into the chat, and whoever will just pop up here, and 5 questions you would love to ask us about Healy, or I don't know.
Anything
what else?
we've
Anything?
And like we said, we're next week will really be the expert panel, having a broader discussion and looking at some of the causes of imbalances and some really practical tips for you as well.
How many cycles do you do a day? You do a lot, don't you? Every time I call you, you're on like that.
I mean, listen, like when I first got my Healy, I was like over the moon. So I was running all the programs and actually ended up exhausting myself a little bit. So the recommendation is no more than 3 a day. And I think that, I tend to do 1 to 2 now, but I also am running some digital nutrition. So I'll run a supplement here or there. I don't really count those because they're like super short, 15 minutes. But typically I'm running 1 to 2, and it really depends on how I feel. So if I get a scan, like yesterday I got a scan and there was some stuff coming up for me. Well, first of all, I've been craving lemon. So I've been eating raw lemon like crazy, which leads me to believe that I have a fire imbalance. There's something happening in my fire element with circulation. So yesterday, circulation and a couple of programs that were in the same grouping. So it was in the fitness group of programs. It was circulation, and there were 2 other that were really high priorities for me. And so I just ran all 3 of those yesterday because, again, it's this self-awareness. When I'm like, I'm craving lemons, I, teach 5-element theory. And so I was like, there's something going on with my fire element. When a circulation program comes up, I'm like, fire element's out of balance. Like I need to get this right. And so all of those programs that were related to that circulation thing inside the fitness programs, I was like, yep, I'm just going to run these 3. And I ran those 3.
Yeah.
So
actually, a lot of people, because I just read this message here about you sitting with a doctor there, and a lot of people think the sicker you are, the more frequencies you should do. Actually, the healthier you get, the more frequencies you can do, because when you're adding too many frequencies to a body that's really super out of balance, and it's just a little bit too chaotic for it. So if you've really got something really going on in your body, you would want to just start out maybe doing one every 1 or 2 days, and then you increase them. And the healthier you get, or the more balanced you get, the more actually you can use your Healy. And I can tell you, once you get your Healy, the more you want to use your Healy. And even though we've got like the recommendation of about 3 a day, but if you ground yourself in earth and put yourself in sunlight, well, mostly just ground yourself in earth, it helps to rebalance any of the additional ions or negative ions that come from frequencies. And so you rebalance back to Earth's energetic field as well. And so you can do some more if you're able to get into the earth. And actually, people often ask as well, what is the very best way to get frequencies? Grounded in earth, sun in the face, out in nature, meditating. That would be the very best way that you could do it. But of course, we all live super busy lives and super hectic lives. So, you know, I have mine on all the time when I'm just like, you know, typing away.
So there's a question about 𝗙𝗪𝗓 reaction, which is really interesting. I feel like I should answer this because I just had one at the IV clinic the other day. It was not from frequency, and I have not experienced 𝗙𝗪𝗓 reaction from frequency. And there were days when I was running 5 or 6 programs. So I have not experienced it there, and I am extremely sensitive to that. In fact, we went and did I had to have a small, well, I went and had my IUD out. So one of the things that, I mean, that's a longer story to tell, but as I went and had an IUD removed 2 weeks ago. Yeah, 2 weeks ago. And it was embedded in my uterus and covered in scar tissue and hormone. And I had to have it surgically removed in the hospital here. And I had to go under general anesthesia to do that. And so, like, you guys, when I say I'm in this journey, I'm literally in it. But so the next day I was like, I need to get this anesthesia out of my system because I could feel it. And my body is vibrating at such high vibration and frequency using Healy. I could literally feel the anesthesia in my system. And I was like, I got to get this out. And so we went to have IVs at the clinic, and I had a 𝗙𝗪𝗓 reaction at the clinic to the IV. And that I've actually had several of those in my life from rapid detox. So I have not experienced that with Healy.
And it's like, I love that, Sharon. I also think part of restoring us into balance is not going too extreme with our bodies and allowing time for things to integrate. So when you're running these programs, you know, I think the recommendation is no more than 3 a day at the beginning, because you do need time and space to let it integrate. And then, you know, it's a gentle journey. And I've found for myself, like I said, initially and I hear this with other people, you get some energetic shifts, and then it's not an overnight thing. The more you use it and over time, you notice all these subtle shifts. And you do hear some incredible, like, straight away results. But I also love hearing the stories where people are 3 or 4 months into their Healy journey, and then they're looking back and being like, I don't feel like that anymore, and I used to be like that, and now I'm the. So it's all the subtle shifts and changes happening over time that actually really creates that sustainable health and that new level of health. So
yeah, and I mean, it does take time. Like I said, I didn't notice until I was like 3 cycles in, and I'm like, hang on, something's changed here. Yeah.
So a bunch of questions have come. A bunch of people have asked site program lengths. So they vary between 15 minutes and 90 minutes. Most of the programs are around 45 minutes, right? Would you say? So, but it kind of depending upon the program that you're running.
And you can literally be doing the shopping. You can be driving your car. You can be doing other things as you're using it. I mean, I always explain the best way to use it, but you know, it's designed to be a very wearable personal device that you can use on the run. So if you're a busy mom or you're running businesses, you can you don't always have to be sitting in Zen doing them too. Hey, Bear's back. How'd you get back?
Maybe one more, because it could be good just to touch a little bit on the, you know, what are the next steps and everything at the end.
If people are interested in a little bit of a business.
So you don't need to be a certified practitioner to run or use Healy, the great thing is, I mean, and we didn't show you this actually, which is probably useful, is that, it is app-based. Oh, sorry, my phone has a big crack in it. So I dropped it and it's got a horrible thing down the thing there. But it's actually app-based. And so it's kind of the app has taken away the need for a practitioner to be used it daily. Of course, if you want to have a really deep treatments done with frequencies, you can go and see a time waver practitioner, and that's where our technology actually comes from. Oh, this isn't mine. That's why it's not connected. This is Leah's. That's right. I don't even have mine back yet. But you'll see, it's really simple. You load up your Healy, you do the analysis on your body, you see which programs you need to use, then you jump into the program page, you select the app, and off you go, and it'll tell you how long you need to use it. It'll tell you which of the, there you go.
So here's the list of programs. And so if I were to go into...
remote works, do remote healings on people.
So here's the Meridian programs. So you can see inside the Meridian programs, there's 10 different programs. Hormonal balance is the first one there.
There you go. Play that.
So if you were to, so you can see here, it is instructing you to put the electrodes on your wrist. So you would apply the wrist bands or electrodes directly onto your wrist. And this program is 51 minutes. And you can run this program daily. So this hormonal balance program is one that you can run every day. You would apply it to your wrist. We then hit start, and it is now transmitting the program from the phone into the Healy. Perfect. Simple. Very simple. I'll show you what it looks like as soon as it's transmitted. I don't think I've ever run this one, so it's taking a minute to...
Yeah, but what's happening right now is actually, every single program will have, and this is really unique, and this is what I love about Healy so much, is that every single program, so like Leah's just clicked on the hormone program, and so inside the hormone program, I don't know exactly, but it may be somewhere between 100 to 600-700 different frequencies that actually affect your hormones, right? So different frequency codes. What's happening now is that's been sent over to Leah's Healy via her app.
And I'm just going to run this one now because why not?
Why not? Why not? Do it. And what's going to happen is that when she puts this on, which she's just done there, is that...
Vanna White it for you.
And I'm going to amp it up for you. Which she's just done there, is right now, those 100, or just for the sake of this, let's say there's 500 frequencies that affect hormones. That has all been now delivered to Healy. And now what's happening is the quantum sensor inside of that is actually testing Leah and whether this frequency actually resonates with Leah. If I was to put this on, it would be different frequencies that would resonate with me. This is what makes it so special and unique, is that we have that quantum sensor inside of it by our amazing Marcus Schmuke, who invented that, our beautiful quantum physicist and founder. That's what's happening right now. So for the first 9 minutes, the device is literally going back and forth saying, which one of these does your body want? Which one of these does your body want? And then it collects all of those and then delivers them back to Leah until her cells say, I've had enough. And then it switches over to the next program.
So someone asked, yes, the quantum sensor is in every single Healy. Whether you get a gold, whether you get a holistic health, whether you get a holistic health plus, the quantum sensor is in there. And that process that Taryn just described is happening each and every time you run your Healy, regardless of which model you have. Yeah. The difference between the resonance, which is this one, is the analysis feature, the ability to ask Healy with which of the 133 programs that come with the resonance, which of those programs do I have the greatest resonance with now? And to get the recommendations by percentage, which programs are most important and most relevant for you to be running in that moment. Other than that, so the resonance is the only device that has that feature.
And the other ones still have incredible programs that can support you starting to access the benefits of frequencies, but it's more for you to just pick and choose the programs and also be intuitive with it as well, but you can also ask, okay, I'm working on this, what programs are good for that? So this one's obviously a lot more specialized, especially if you're really wanting to work with something specific. I think this is definitely the best way to go.
And I see people like asking, is it just an app? No, the app is just what drives this device.
But this is a phone.
Yeah, this is a phone. Oh, sorry. Yeah, this is a phone. This is an iPhone. And it is an app that you can download, and then it drives the Healy for you. So you use the phone to be able to see what programs, etc., etc. I mean, this itself isn't actually delivering anything.
This is where the magic happens.
It's delivering everything. But this is what you use just to drive your Healy, if you like.
Awesome. I mean, I'm sure we could do hundreds more questions, and maybe we may even have a look back through some of these to channel them into the practitioner expert one that we're going to do with the panel next week. But I mean, maybe for now we could just start to share, like, what are your next steps if this is resonating for you and you're like one of those people that's tried a lot of things and you had a lot of confusion in this space and you're like, I'm hearing these stories and I'm really connecting to them and I want to know more, and the next steps.
The next steps, well, we work in this beautiful social selling model, and it's wonderful for women because we like to tell people about things, especially when it works for us. So however you got to this webinar, whoever introduced you to Healy, how you got here, however it is that you landed here from that person, you go back to that person and you ask them for some more information about Healy, and they will be able to share with you more information, possibly even share with you the replay. That this has been recorded, so we will share the replay in our Facebook groups. So it's really that simple, and then they just give you a link and you follow that link and you purchase it online. So it's as simple as go back to the person who introduced you to Healy. It's really important. We really make sure you honor that because we're really all about that. And ask that person, and then and they'll get you set up. They'll send you a link, and it's super simple. You just order online.
And then you're part of this incredible community as well, where it's about health. It's about, you know, thriving as a woman in all areas and being really supported in that. There's so much more you can access. The health is the first step for a lot of people, but then there's opportunities that will blow your mind that you probably didn't even know existed. So you stay open as you enter into it.
Yeah. And so next week, we're really excited. Again, we have a very multifaceted panel, a lot of different backgrounds. And so we're excited to have different types of health and wellness practitioners coming and sharing their thoughts, their philosophy on hormones, giving you more information on, how to get out of the plateau if you're in the plateau of your journey, and maybe some signs to recognize, if you're struggling with some of these things. I'm excited for the panel because I think that, while we're able to offer our personal experiences, the panel is going to be able to come and offer some real professional science-based information on women's health and hormones. And then obviously we will still be talking about frequency and
how they integrate it in as well.
Yeah. Amazing. All right. Well, I guess we can wrap it up now, and we will see you back here this time next week, the same time. We'll be zooming in from Bali. Actually, can't wait till you can all visit us in Bali. Zooming in from Bali, and we will have those incredible panelists and more experts that are going to go a lot more deeper into, really what's going on and how our frequency treatments frequency applications really work with all of us. So it was awesome.
Yeah.
You guys are awesome as always.
You were amazing. Thank you for your time. Thanks for sharing this time with us. We'll see you next week.